Welcome to Almost Functional Gaming. We aim to help all followers of Russ and the Allfather to improve on the tabletop. List building, tournament recaps, unit reviews, weekly council of the Fang, and other tips to help us all go from almost functional to fully functional. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Here again with Aiden for our weekly Council of the Fang.
Weekly Council of the Fang. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing all right. Just, recovering from a long weekend of gaming.
A lot of games you played, yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't play a lot this week. I only played, 4 this weekend? But I was there the whole weekend because some of the guys on the Almost Functional team played the whole weekend and did pretty well.
Yeah, was it David on your team, got top bracket, almost won the whole thing.
Yeah, he beat Siegler in the finals and then lost to Lennon's top table, so ended up getting second with Grey Knights.
Really off-meta choice.
Yeah, but he's a Grey Knight specialist. He's always been really good with Grey Knights.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you want to get into today?
Well, I figure we can do a little bit about my list and my event this weekend, and then where we're both thinking about possibly going and stuff, and then anything the chat wants to talk about.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so I guess actually first we brought up that stat check thing. Do you want to go into that now or do that later?
Yeah, let's take a look at the meta last weekend and see what was popping.
All right, so this, I think I got it set to just this weekend. So Eldari is up at 65%.
Wow.
Grey Knight's at 61, but that's I'm not sure how many people played it, but that's 9 players. And then Dave went 6-1, so Grey Knights are doing pretty good right now. We got World Eaters, Templars, Knights.
Templars. How many players on Templars?
Let's see. Oops, that's not what I was trying to do. Computer's been All right, how do I get out of that? Yeah. Sometimes it'll show me then. Oh, we gotta go over here. So 14 played Gladius. 2 played the Templar Detachment. And the Gladius one had 57. The other one only had 50.
Hogfather, good to see you, man. Hello from London.
Hello, Hogfather. Welcome.
I knew Templars would be strong. We'll see how they level out. They have absolute damage. It's crazy.
Yep. Knights were at 56. Death Guard at 56. So yeah, those are the ones that are over the 55% threshold. Emperor's Children, Custodes, Drukari, Tau, Deathwatch, Demons. Admech, I'm surprised only have a 50% win rate. I saw a lot of them with their points drop. That's what Siegler took. And I bet Siegler, but him and Dave in their semifinal game, it was a 38-37 game.
Wow. That is a very low scoring game.
Yep. One supply drop. They both just kept killing each other off the objectives, and then the objectives kept disappearing to make it easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
Regular Marines were at 49%. Let's see how much of that is the new Raven Shadowmark talent at 73%.
That is crazy. 5 players with a 73% win rate.
First Company.
Someone went 4-1 with First Company.
Nice. I have to look that up, see what that list was, whether it was Ultramarines or what. But Shadowmark had 5 players. That's what Lennon won the event with. I think they're going to have to do something about that. Some of those rules
are crazy.
Well, I don't think they thought out them being able to up, down Centurion Devastators and stuff like that. I think they were thinking more like JPIs and Vanguard vets and stuff like that.
Yeah, the fact that you get 3 rapid ingresses before the end of turn 2,
Yes.
and like half of them you can't shoot because they're like 12.1 away in lone op. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely. I understand they would give people cool rules, but yeah, they're gonna have to do something about that. Then we got
Marsh is saying, "Hey fellas,
down
curious
to
to hear about."
44%.
Marsh is saying, "Hey fellas, curious to hear about y'all and what you're doing post nerf with your lists."
Yeah, we'll definitely be getting into some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I had to run my list. Well, I ran Champions Fenris, but it was after the nerf, so I only had a 10-point change to RJack because I didn't have any Thunderwolves on the list. But yeah, we'll see where we go with some. Gladius is only at 37% for regular Marines. That's shocking. I guess it does better with like Templars and Wolves and stuff. And then Wolves are down here at 49%.
That's not bad. I think that's where I expect us to kind of level out. It's like 50 to 48 kind of, which is okay.
Here's me trying to not get us nerfed. One player at Champions of Fenris.
Champions of Fenris. You are the champion of Fenris. I want you to know that, Matt.
Beast Slayer at 48%. The other 3 Space Wolf players at my event were all Beast Slayer.
Okay.
And the best went 4 and 3. Then we had a 3 and 4, and then we had an 0 and 4 or 0 and 5. Then Gladius, it's only 2 players. So 65%. Yeah, 65% out of 2 players. I wonder if they both did well or one did really well and one did okay. But because out of 10 games, 65% would be 6.5 wins. So maybe there's a draw. 6 wins and a draw out of 10 games. That means 3 losses and a draw. All right.
Okay.
Cool. And then who's down here at the bottom? Agent.
Orcs with a 32. I thought they just got buffed.
They did, but I don't know how many people had time to pivot to them for this weekend. I know Michael Mann from Art of War jumped on them and took them, and he went 2 and 1 before he dropped. I'm not sure how much anybody else did. And this Imperial Agent, that was Charlie Blowers at the event this weekend that I was at. He brought Imperial Agents. The only player in the whole country playing Imperial Agents.
Oh, wow.
Nids, yeah. So Thousand Suns after the nerf are really down here.
Yeah, they've always been like a really hard army to play and master. So when they're like, I think they got nerfed because of the players that were at the top of the pool of Thousand Suns players.
Yeah, and then Chaos Knights and GSC after the nerfs are down here pretty low too. But yeah, it's interesting to see there was only 3 detachments of Wolves run this weekend. 12 players on Beast Slayer, 2 and then 1. So of the 15 Wolf players this weekend, 12 of them were Beast Slayer.
You know, it'd be cool. We can probably pull the stats from the Codex release to now to see what the overall ranking of the detachments are.
Of who've played the most. Let's see. Date. It only lets me go back to the 14th.
They may not have it all the way back. That's okay.
Yes, sometimes I think this is based off. Let's see. Chapter approved 2025. Our book came out right around the start of 2025. The new chapter.
Right around chapter approved 2025, yeah. You can include all the rest of them up till the new ones.
Well, we don't want all the Leviathan stuff.
We want all the chapter approved,
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. I'll show that. All right, so we got 38 Beast or Stormlance games.
57% win rate.
Yeah. Then we got 49 Gladius Task Force, so a little ahead of Stormlance. 144 Beast Slayer. 33 Champions of Rust, but that was stuff that got so those won't count. 7 Iron Storm. A few of those were you.
Mm-hmm.
Only 6 Saga the Hunter. People have taken Hunter since it came out. Only 7 have taken Bold, and only 2 have taken Fenris.
Yep.
So I took it and played 4 games. So someone took it to played at least 5 games at an event with Fenris.
Someone else did. Wow.
Yep. And they got at least 2 wins because I only had 1. I was at 25%. And this is up around 34%. So someone went like 2 and 3 with it.
Wow. This is almost exactly what we were expecting, right? Gladius and Stormlance really close together. I personally have Stormlance a little higher.
Yeah.
Beast Slayer's pretty high up there. Hunter and Bold are okay.
I was not expecting them to be at 7 and 6. I was actually, or that was 7. Yeah, 7 and 6. I was expecting that to be a little higher, honestly.
That makes sense.
Because Iron Storm has more games than Hunter and the same amount of games as Bold. And a lot of that's you. So that means no one was really playing any of that. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so Beast Slayer's where most people have landed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then some Gladius, which a couple of those were me. And then did you take Stormlight since the book came out?
Nope.
I didn't think so. Yeah, you went Ironstorm was your first thing you tried. All right. Well, that's an interesting breakdown.
It is. It's really cool to see where we stand. Overall, I mean, we've obviously gotten nerfed recently, but
yeah, because I see what our win rate is overall since the
average, some of average win rate. That's funny.
Yeah, because we're at 52% for the same time. We're 49% this weekend after the nerf. And I'm not sure 100% if everybody used the nerf. So some of those games we got into some other events may or may not have had the change already.
So everyone's been waiting for this. Tell us about your Champions of Fenris.
All right. Well, I guess first things first, let's go ahead and just bring up the list. So it was Champions of Fenris. I took an Ancient and Terminator armor. I gave him the Wolf's Wisdom. I went back and forth between having a Captain, a Librarian, or an Ancient. And then running with a 5-man Thunderhammer Terminator Assault Terminator squad. Only because we can't take that enhancement with our Terminators. Because we'll have our Logan and our Jack. That enhancement's one that takes the 3-inch charge on your opponent's turn to a 6-inch. Which really I thought was pretty useful. It came up in a couple games. I don't know if it's as big a deal as I was thinking. So I may or may not have needed that one squad of not our Terminators. But the Ancient gives them +1 OC. So now that squad's 3 OC in Champions of Fenris. And as soon as they lose a model, it gives them +1 to hit, which helps with the Thunderhammer sitting on 4s. So it actually did okay in a couple games. Arjak running with a 10-man, Logan running with a 10-man, and then we had a 10-man running by itself. Bjorn just to get CP to do stuff, help guard our backfield, and I really like him. He helps protect the backfield, and then helps fight the middle. And the double flamer Overwatch is pretty good, and he slaps pretty decent in combat. We had an Intercessor squad to Sticky the Home, which the thought was paired up with the Sticky from the Detachment. I would be able to sticky some objectives so the Terminators didn't necessarily have to sit and babysit them against armies that couldn't jump over them. We had an Outrider just for some action and movement shenanigans. A Reaver squad, possibly I put them in reserve a couple games to possibly deep strike in and threaten people's side of the board with their -1 OC. Scouts, I love Scouts. In this detachment, it's a cool trick. If you get first turn, you scout them so they're just touching your expansion. And then at the end of your command phase, spend a CP and they sticky it, and then they can leave it. And depending on the speed of your opponent, sometimes it'll take them a turn or two to get there, especially if they don't have a unit to charge to get on the objective. So sometimes you can just be holding that objective and having like a unit behind it, but not necessarily on it.
Right.
So that was cool thing. And then we had the 1 Terminator Assault Squad and then the 3 Terminator Squads. I mean, and that was it. So not a lot of units. So our round 1 game, we went into Death Guard, Champions of Contagion. And this is the detachment where they can switch between contagions, which honestly ended up coming up very, very big at the end of this game. So this game was take and hold, and my opponent had to go first, so I had to end the game. So on turn 4, I was up like 5 points on primary going into turn 4, and secondaries were close. I positioned myself to. He had a bloat drone and a blight hauler, whatever this thing's called. They're 3 OC each, touching my expansion. So I had my 3-man Outrider squad go up and touch it with all 3 of them. So I had 6 OC, he had 6 OC, and I'm like, all right, this is contested. He's like, yeah. And then on the other side, I had Logan and 4 Terminators touching his expansion, and he had 6 OC there because he had a blight hauler and a thing there. It's like, all right, I got 8 OC to 6 OC, yeah. And so then we go into his turn. He's like, all right, I'm switching into the Neg 1 OC, Neg 1 Leadership, Neg 1 Move.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that was a thing. And like, I kind of wish he'd be like, hey, I have this thing I could do. Because like every time he moved in my, hey, I can charge you there if you're within 3. I kept reminding him of my thing. And it's kind of a little bit of feel bad there that it's now like, hey, I'm going to make them all OC1 in a minute. And I'm going to hold these objectives. So I thought I held him I held him to a 5, and then all of a sudden he had a 15.
That's a feels bad.
It was. So that was a little.
Yeah, that's like a little gotcha.
A little, yeah. And it's someone I know, is a friend of mine, so I kind of felt a little like, well, like that's. But that was what it is. So that ended up flipping that game into a loss because then the next turn the same thing got to happen. He kept my OC shut off because I thought I had him 0 there, so what I did was I charged Arjack's squad onto his home objective to try to kill his tally man or some guy that gives him CP. And so then once he flipped those objectives, because I had bought him a turn, I thought I was going to be able to move them out and then go to the middle and just hold those 2 objectives. So I was going to keep him to a 5. I was going to be able to get at least a 10, and then on the last turn, I was going to be able to get a 10 to 15 going last. But then him slipping to that 15, and then now my OC was down the next turn. So I thought I had him to a 5, and he got a 15. I thought I was going to get a 10. I got a 5. So just the whole way I had planned and moved to that turn just was really I lost the game as soon as he popped that thing.
Damn.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have even gone to his home field. I would have had Arjack and them come help hold the middle if I'd known he was going to be able to turn OC down on the other units. But once he did, I was so out of position. I was like, well, this is a loss. So that one kind of sucked. That was a little bit of a feel bad, but that happens.
Dang, man. How was the damage? Did you feel like you were keeping up or at least holding steady?
Yeah, the damage was okay. Like the Terminator list, as I say a lot of times on them, they don't just like upfront kill something right away. What this list was designed to do and hopefully do was to slowly kill you while I was holding the objectives, which it did. And then if I'd known what was going to happen, I could have done that way, and I would have still won, not by as many as I thought I was going to win by. I thought I was going to turn that into a really big victory. But it would have still been, I had the game in control. If I'd known that was going to happen, I would have left Arjack, because him and his 10-man were still alive. Logan was down to like 6 guys, and then the bikes. I could have sent them over to help the bikes on the other objective. And I would have left him the 5 on his backfield instead of leaving him the other 5. And I would have went and just helped, hold that objective and sent the bike somewhere else. But so it had all the tools to win that game. It's just if something goes wrong or something happens, you're unexpected, it doesn't have the speed of advance in charge or fall back in charge and stuff like that to reposition itself very well. Like you have the up beat down, but you still got a deep strike 9 away. So it's like, so that was one of the things I noticed is like, you have to plan that running this detachment a couple turns ahead. Like what they're going to do, what you're going to do, where you need to be, how you're going to get there in a turn or two in advance. So when something like that happens where, oh crap, I need to be somewhere I didn't think I needed to be, and now a minus movement, it just really shuts everything down on the list. So it just doesn't have the tools to switch game plan as quickly as some other detachments can.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well.
But if you're able to plan it, like it takes a lot more skill in planning it, and boom, boom, as soon as something happens, like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing, it's a lot harder. Sometimes it's unrecoverable in this detachment.
Mm-hmm.
So you can win. It's not like this isn't unplayable. It's not forgiving. If you make a mistake, or just even not necessarily a mistake of, sometimes it's a mistake of not having knowledge of what someone can do. Like if it wasn't a mistake, if things were playing out the way you thought, but then, oh, I have this other contagion you didn't know about. Oh, well, now I can't react to that because I'm out of position.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. And then round 2, we played into Emperor's Children. Demon Princess Slanesh, Lord Exultant, Infractors, Tormentors, Rhino, Spawn, Flawless Blades, 2 Mauler Fiends, and 3 squads of Noise Marines. This game was... I lost this game pretty badly on points. The fight was pretty even. What ended up happening is he was able to, with the Mauler Fiends and Rhinos and stuff, get across the objectives and get me into combat on my side of the table. And this was really smart on his part. He got my units locked up with Mauler Fiends, Demon Princes, and Rhinos. And this list, as we said before, it takes a while to grind through stuff. And if I'm doing it on the objective, I'm normally running with primary in this detachment because of all the extra OC. When I'm doing it off the objective, I ended up scoring 5 primary that game. And that was just because I couldn't. So I had options of, all right, do I just leave this stuff alive and try to fall back from it onto the objective and just let him keep doing damage to me without taking me into, or do I try to see if I can dig through this stuff? And then I would finally dig through a Rhino or something, and then he'd charge me with a different Rhino or a different. So he just did a good job of keeping me engaged off the objectives. And this list of not being able to fall back and charge and do stuff, basically you're like, all right, these 10 Terminators are going to fall back and do nothing to try to get to the objectives. And even then they can't advance because they're falling back. They can't charge. So if you're not within 6 inches of the objective, falling around your opponent, unless you want to try to dash or escape over top of them. So that's the biggest flaw in this list, at least the way I built it. And Champions of Fenris is if your opponent is able to kind of like jail you, hold you back in your deployment zone, you don't have the ability, if you can't dig through them fast enough, and that's the one thing Wolves are missing right now is damage. Like we can get a lot of attacks at Strength 5, Neg 2, and if they have any type of armor contempt, they're started a 2-up save. You're winning them on 6, they're getting a 3 or 4-up save. They got a lot of wounds. You're just not getting through it, which is, I find,
Yeah, that's kind of
flaws with this. Yeah, and we don't have any built-in fallback in charge in any of our units. Like you can take like a Ragnar or Blood Call to get advance in charge, but they don't get a lot of buffs from this detachment. So like you're not really incentivized to take them in this detachment. So that was the main thing. I think like he just made a really smart play there. Once we got into one of the first combats, I realized, oh, he's not killing my Rhino very fast. So let me charge him with Mauler Fiends and my Demon Princes. And then when I do kill something, he shoots me with a bunch of Noise Marine stuff and charges something else in. This slowly whittles me down and kept me off the objectives. So that was a really smart play on Robert's part. This was the first game. Like the first game, I felt like I took advantage of what the list did and planned ahead well, and then I just had that weird thing happen at the end. This game, I felt like the whole game, like he was just, here's your flaw, I'm hitting it. Here's your flaw, I'm hitting it. Here's your flaw, I'm hitting it. I'm like, all right, this is the type of matchup. I don't want to be in something fast and durable that can get into me on my side of the table.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing is with this Champions of Fenris. Like there's a lot of strengths, but it has very, the weaknesses are really deep.
Yeah, there's a couple things that can counter it hard, and then other things you just have to, in most games, plan so far ahead. Now, there are some matchups that are great for us, as we'll get into my next game. Because there's only 2 days round one, or day one. So this was the end of the first day. I was 0-2. One game I felt like I should have won. The second game I was like, all right, he just took advantage of my flaws and played really well. This one I should have. So I felt like I should have been 1-1, but then the second round I played in, or the third round I played in Eldari. I won this 100-19. This list is just so good into Eldari. Fire Dragons, Dark Reapers, like nothing is efficient into our units. Banshees are okay because we get the anti-infantry, but they don't have 4 damage. They have 3 and 2 damage. So we just tank everything they do. And with the extra OC, I was able to just walk into the middle. I believe this was Linchpin. I believe our opponent scored 6 points because they held their home field on turns 2 and 3. And then after that, I even took that from them. And I pretty much just tabled the Eldar. So into like Eldar type lists, this list is amazing. 30 Terminators, like even when I ran 15, when I played Eldar, I'd come out with 7. So when you're running 30, they just can't kill them. And you just park the objectives and just like, and there's a lot of Eldar in my local meta, so I've had a lot of test games into Eldar with Wolves. Like, I don't get a lot of games in Death Guard. I don't get a lot of games. So some of the stuff that I get problems with is stuff I haven't got to test into, which is another nice thing. Going to big events, you find stuff that maybe your local meta doesn't have. But this list just crushes Eldari. Like Eldar doesn't really have a good play back into it because nothing they have really kills it well.
Nope, not really.
So this could be a good teams list. Champions Fenris could be good in teams because there are certain things that cannot deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely true. A lot of OC, a lot of durability.
Yeah, and Eldar are fast, but they don't have durable. Just like I want to see if I want to get a game into Orcs. I didn't get to because they have lots of bodies, but they're only T5, 1 wound. So I think even though they could possibly rush us on our side, I think we could potentially dig through them fast enough to flip that game late. Like normally that's what people have to do to us is we take board early and then they have to try to kill us fast enough. I think the Orcs, that game would be switched. And I believe we possibly do, especially the 10-man Terminator squad, all those attacks. I think we could dig through them faster than they dig through us and eventually flip it. And in the end, turns 3, 4, and 5, flip it back, kind of like what people have to try to do against us a lot of times. But I haven't actually got to test that. But Eldar we're getting into. I want to see what we do into the new ad mech. But so there are things that this does still just smash.
Yeah, this is one of them.
Yeah. But and then my last game was into Tyranid, Subterranean Assault, Death Leaper, Hive Tyrant, 3 squads of the hyper adapted Raveners, Biovore, a Harridan.
What the heck?
Yep. 2 Hive Guard, a Neurolicta, Pyrovore, Ravener. So the Harridan, I'm like, oh, Flyers, those kind of suck. He's so big, they come on the board, but they can come out of the tunnels.
Harridans can come out of the tunnels?
Harridans can come out of the tunnels.
What?
They're a Tyranid unit in reserve.
Are you kidding me? The thing is like the size of half a table.
Yep, the little Raveners made a hole for the Harridan. And then he can uppy and down it instead, so he doesn't have to do the 20 fly. He can go back in the holes or uppy down or whatever the Harridan, and then come back out the hole again next turn. And every time he comes out of the hole, he has a strat for a lethal sustained. So, and I had no shooting this list, so I had to eat that thing to the face for 4 rounds.
Brutal.
It actually didn't kill the Terminators as fast as he thought. I should have won this game. I made a mistake at the end. We were playing Scorched Earth. And my intercessors were sitting on my home objective all game. I had it sticky. They're just sitting there. And then I'd killed most of his army. He had like 1 Hive Guard squad, a Biovore, and like 1 Ravener squad. So I walked the intercessors out. I was like, well, it's sticky. I'm going to shoot some stuff. So I kept them so that nothing could deep strike within 9 on the objective. So he brought a Ravener squad in back near my objective. And then he spent the CP. He did the strat where the Hive Guard jumped in 1 hole and came out of the other hole. And they could be within 6 because I'm out of the hole. touched my home objective, burned it, and scored it. And I knew he could do that. We talked about this. So that wasn't a gotcha. That's just me forgetting he had that. Because if I just sit them there, because they came out, shot at the Hive Guard, and didn't even do a wound. Like I just oh, they haven't done anything. Let me have them do something, just for no reason, just because I felt like I was wasting points. They weren't doing anything. Because if I don't do that, he scores a 5 on the last turn, and I win. But by him being able to score that extra 5 and the 10, so an extra 15 points, he beat me by 8. So that was just a dumb move on my part. I should have just sat there. So at that point, I was like, all right, I've seen what I need to see of this list, and ended up dropping there. But it tanked the Tyrannage damage well. I still had a bunch of Terminators and stuff alive. Like, I would have won that game if I just don't move the Intercessors out to try to... Like, they weren't even going to kill a Hive Guard. I knew they weren't going to kill a Hive Guard, but I was just like, I need to do something with them, which I don't need to do something with them.
Right.
So that was dumb. Like, so that should have been a win. So, like, the first game, I think I should have won. This game, I definitely should have won. Like, him and I both talked, like, if I don't walk those guys out, he has 0 plays to... He could try to burn the one other objective on the other side, but the one he was already going to hold, but
yeah,
mattered. So that's it. So the list went 3-1 or 1-3. It could easily went 3-1. 2 of those losses. One was a stupid mistake on my part. The other was a flip, but it's going to play close games into most things other than like Eldar, like super squishy armies that you can just sit in the middle and they can't kill you. You can win, but there's some armies that can hard counter you, and the other games are going to be super tight, come down to a play here or there. So,
yeah. So, what are your final thoughts on Champions of Fenris?
So it's not unplayable. It can win games. You can win RTT with it. It has enough flaws where you're probably never going to see anybody win a GT with it, any kind of big event. But it's making the game harder. You're playing on hard mode. Like, so if you're a good enough player, you build a good enough list, you can win. You can have a winning record with this. But there's detachments that just make it so much easier on you. You're not as stressed. You're not as worried about making a tiny mistake that'll take you 2 turns to recover from, or just not anticipating something your opponent's going to do that takes you 2 turns to try to get over, and we're like...
Yeah, that's what I felt about Iron Form.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very punishing if you don't know your army in the matchup.
Yeah. Or even you fail a charge you didn't think you were going to fail a 4-inch charge or something, and now your opponent leaves. You don't have the advance in charge. If you only move 6, so if they're something that's like on jump packs or something, and now they're way far away from you, and now it's like I planned that for 2 turns and failed a 4-inch charge. Now I got to try to recover with another 2-turn plan. Like, you just can't instantly react, which after playing Gladius, if I hadn't played Gladius before, if I'd done this first, I might not have felt it as much. But coming from Gladius, I definitely felt the lack of advance in charge and fallback in charge.
Fallback in charge, advance in charge. Yeah.
Yeah. The fight on death I missed in the Emperor's Children's game, but
what would Champions of Fenris need to be competitive?
Well, one, something that just we need in general is letting us have a generic character that can join our Terminators to take advantage of some of the cool enhancements, because there are a couple good enhancements that we can't take on our units. And then some ability to either have an advance in charge or a fallback in charge. Just having access to one of the two, even if it's a strat or an enhancement on one unit, would really, really help a lot. The rest of the stuff, like the uppy downy on tournament, is cool. I only used it like once the whole tournament, just because most of the time dropping in, trying to hit a 9-inch, or holding them a whole turn until your opponent to try to wrap it, just didn't feel like taking them off the board. Especially since we have Logan's turn 1 deep strike, then we're going to have to, like, I don't think you need it. So that could possibly switch out for something, although having it in the toolbox isn't bad. The sticky for infantry or walkers was cool. That's nice to have an option of. The chilling howl, the Terminators making people take battle shocks, wasn't as useful as I thought. The Tyranids game was almost completely useless because they get the 3 dice And then the other time I used it, I made both the battle shocks near me. So it's like, it could possibly, I mean, it's a good thing to have, but it's not something that's going to reliably do well. The strat that gives you sustained or lethal, where you have the option, I like that versatility. That strat's really, really good. The lack of any way to upgrade AP is tough. I missed the Lance +1 AP. Lethal hits is slightly better than Lance in a lot of situations, but the +1 AP with Lance is just better than lethal hits in general. Especially if any type of armor contempt where they can take all our AP2 down to AP1, or if they start on 2-up saves. But yeah, so just some sort of advance in charge or fallback in charge ability that the Terminators would have. Just one of the two. I prefer the fallback one, but even the advanced one just would give us something. And then I think the detachment's a little better.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is a very skewed detachment. It's got its strengths. It's got its pretty glaring weaknesses.
Yeah,
I think it's more of a teams list until we.
Yes, it could definitely find a Horland teams, and it's not as bad as everybody thought. It's not bad. It's very hard to play and unforgiving.
Yep, I bet. So where are you going with Wolves?
Well, that's what I'm debating. I enjoyed having the 30 Terminators on the table, so my two options right now are, do I try to find what detachment fits the Terminator build best, or do I find what other detachment I want to play, and then find what build works that detachment best? So at this point, I'm thinking I just painted up 30 Terminators. I'm going to try to make that work. So just with my playing around, I think I'm going to go back to Gladius for a minute with the Terminator build and see how that does.
Yeah.
I've also debated about running a 2 Terminator with 3 Redemptors. So that's the 2 lists I'm playing around right now. Is I got a 30 Terminator list with a Lancer and a Predator with an Iron Priest for a little bit of shooting, or just 2 Terminator squads, one with each of the characters, and no lone Terminator squad, and instead of the other shooting, taking 3 Redemptors.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think Gladius is still a really sweet spot for us.
Yes.
It's just a well-rounded list.
Yep.
It's very fair Warhammer. Like it does everything like above average, you know?
Correct.
It's not like, except for the one thing that's really unique about it is the fight on death, but
yes,
it gives a little bit of buffs, it gives a little bit of movement, it gives a little bit of extra damage, gives a little bit of this, you know. It's a very like balanced way to play, and yeah,
like Beast Slayer, I feel like has a much higher damage potential, but Gladius is just a more consistent and reliable. What do I need to do this turn? Do I need to actually do as much damage as possible, or do I need to try to fall back and get somewhere, or advance and get somewhere?
Yeah.
And I've had my best success so far with the new book with Gladius. So we're going to go back to that for a minute. And then maybe after I run that list for another month or so, then we'll maybe jump onto Beast Slayer or Hunter, or give something else weird a try.
Yeah. For me, I think that I'm going back to the tried and true. I was building Beast Slayer lists here and there, but I just feel like I don't have a grasp exactly what all the parts to make the whole. You know, there's a couple of really cool parts. There's the Ragnar brick.
Yep.
There's all the vehicles getting lethals. There's the, Wolfen. There's the Terminators getting lethals and Lance. There's like a couple pieces here and there. I'm still struggling to put a full list together that I really like.
Yeah. The problem I'm seeing is the space with detachments, like, because I like bold, like the strats, but they're so restrictive. Some of them are Depth of Starters characters. Some of them are Space Wolf character units. Like even if I ran the 30 Terminators, the one Terminator squad wouldn't get to use any of them unless they spent extra CP to make their leader a character. So I just find our detachments are too restrictive, because you want to take some regular Space Marine units for some shooting, for some action play, for some other stuff, and the fact that a lot of the detachments, some of the strats and stuff don't work on them.
Yeah, the things are too restrictive. I was like, ooh, if in Beastlayer you could redeploy shooting units, that would be fantastic. But we don't really have any shooting units that are decent Space Wolf keyword.
Yep.
You know, or like Hunter, if that worked on regular Marines, or like it just there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Whereas I think the base detachments just have a lot of balance in them.
Yeah, well, that's because that was one of the things I liked about Fenris was like everything was just Adeptus Astartes. This Adeptus was like you didn't have to really worry about other than Logan's rule. Nothing I was doing was Space Wolf specific.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, where am I going? I think I'm leaning back into the good old sweater of Stormlance. Like, it's my favorite sweater. I've worn it 1,000 times. It's exactly, I know exactly where it fits.
Yeah, because if you're running the big Thunderwolf squads, you didn't get nerfed as hard as if you want to run little. You got 10 points for 6, as opposed to everybody else getting losing 15 for 3. Like if you wanted to run a bunch of little squads, you got hurt worse than if you want to run the big squads, which is weird to me.
Yeah, so I was thinking the big squads of the Wolves are really amazing. That's actually where I think we stand out the most, because Gladius is just good Warhammer. It does everything pretty decent, but it doesn't do anything crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't do anything super crazy. What I like about Stormlance, how it pairs with us, no other army plays Stormlance the way we do. Almost no other army can play that style of Warhammer, where you can just like 21-inch those Thunderwolves from back in your staging ruin all the way into your opponent's deployment zone and charge. Like, that is like very unheard of in this day and age. It does suffer from the damage problem. So Champions of Russ. Oof.
Yeah. This book with Champions of Russ would be so amazing.
It really does suffer from a damage problem, Stormlance, but that's something to just be aware of. Mm-hmm. You just have to I think you really do have to take a lot of shooting to make up for that damage problem. Because I don't think Stormlance buffs melee enough. Like, I think we have, like, I'm considering, like, the Terminator squad with Arjack is amazing. I don't like the Terminator squad with Logan and Stormlance because the damage just doesn't hit. If you run into a Rhino touches you, like, you just have to fall back and charge, and you'll do, like, 3 or 6 wounds to a Rhino. Like, it just is not doing it. But Arjack in Stormlance, exactly. Yeah. And there's one thing to be said for that Vect, really durable Vect that can fall back and charge or react to move 6. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're playing to Eldar, I would probably put Logan in that squad or something. Like, army where Logan doesn't have a damage problem, but you really in Stormlance need to build into damage. Yep. Your Wolves are great. They are doing the heavy lifting, but I think you need to build into damage. So I also think, like, I've been building lists with head takers with Wolf Priests now, like paired weapon head takers, not even messing around with shields. Like, they're not there to survive. They're there to take heads.
6-mans or 3-mans?
6-mans for sure.
Oh, okay.
I think 3-mans could be good trade pieces, but Riz, thank you so much for those gifted memberships. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, we really love seeing people join the channel.
Yeah. It makes banging my head against the Champions of Fenris wall all weekend worth it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll lose games for money. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Runize is saying we lost leaders for Thundercav. I think it's honestly still okay. We lost Blood Surge for Thundercav.
That's bigger even than the leaders.
Thundercav they got slightly cheaper. I think they're $240 for 6-man. And they also got more damage. They got AP and an extra damage on their main attack. So they all kind of balanced out the leaders. They're not really the linchpin of your list anymore. They're more so pressure and skirmish. They're not damage. Like, you have to just realize that you just have to take a lot of damage to back up those Thunderwolves, which are going to be really annoying in your opponent's face. Yeah, so that's where I'm going. I think building more into Stormlance pressure builds. Wish we could have kept Herald. Why do we lose him to gain a ton of transfers for him? Oh, yeah, all the new transfers.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? Yeah, so that's where I'm headed. I'm headed back to Stormlance. it is a damage problem, but I'm hoping with I'm building with that in mind, and I'm hoping with the change in the meta for like Imperial Knights, Death Guard, and Chaos Knights getting nerfed, we're not going to have a stat check like vehicle list to go into, because the worst thing Thunderwolves want to see is T10 plus all across the board.
Yeah,
that is that's really tough.
Well, it would be funny. I don't know how it would work, but 30 Terminators and 18 Thunderwolves in Stormlance. And just run the Thunderwolves onto their side and just walk the Terminators to the middle and be like, have a couple of things to hold you back and be like, all right, how many 4-wound bodies can you kill?
Honestly, that might be a funnier version of the Champions of Fenris list, because you can just get really aggressive with those Thunderwolves and just keep charging, advancing, charging, fall back, charge. Just keep going in.
Yeah. Yeah, because they get the lance on there. Yeah, you don't get a lot of buffs for the Terminators in that detachment, but
they do get a lot of movement.
They're pretty survivable without it. Yes, I'm saying they do still get armor contempt. Okay. Now you got my brain turning. Maybe I don't go Black Gladius. Maybe I play around with a Stormlance list.
I think that also might be a teams list. If you're going all melee, the second you have 0 shooting, you run into some really hard counters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying, like, you have some heaters and you have some Thunderwolves there. They do really well in Stormlance. Then you just tech as much shooting as you can get in that list.
Yeah, Runas, I haven't tried First Company with the new book. I did play around with it a year or two ago, and I actually had little decent success with it. I kind of liked it. But it has some of the same problems. I don't think it really had any fallback or charge. It did have a -1 damage in combat, was nice. It had a sticky strat that worked in your movement phase, and it didn't clarify when. So you could do it before you leave an objective or walk onto an objective and do it. So that there were some things in there I liked. And regular Terminator had some buffs there. That was another detachment I had considered playing around with.
Give Me Scotch said, "What's up, Matt? Struggled with Crucible, played Beast Slayer, but was nerfed by 50 on Tuesday. Felt like I didn't have enough gas." Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. I noticed. Yeah, other than me, the other 3 lists were Beast Slayer, and we had a 4 and 3, a 3 and 4, and then an 0 and 5. But it's Beast Slayer. I don't know. I think it works better with like horde units. Like that's where your 20 blood claws.
I really like 20 blood claws and Ragnar in that detachment.
Yeah, your head taker, like a big head taker squad with paired weapons. I think just a mass attacks really is where that shines. Wolfen, because they get the Wolfens with the character. Once I get on, because I still got all my Grey Hunters to build, still have my Blood Claws to paint. So whenever I get all that stuff caught up on a hobby end, I'll play around with some of that stuff too. Right now, I don't have all the models together that I want for my Beast Slayer list.
That's the biggest thing. I think I would start playing Beast Slayer, but I know I want to put in 20 Blood Claws and Ragnar, and I just don't have any of that built or painted. So that's just kind of like, I've got a couple tournaments coming up in a month. I might start building and painting, but I don't know that I'm going to have that done for the next month.
Yeah, because I just built Njal, and I started building my first 10-man set of Grey Hunters yesterday. So I was going to put them in a list, and then I was like, wait, 180 points. I could take a second Infiltrator and Intercessor squad for that. Like, it's like... And now with the Raven Guard thing going on, like, I'm thinking double Infiltrator might be a thing I want to do.
That's exactly what I was thinking of putting in my list.
Yeah.
I think Stormlands has a lot of amazing tech. A lot of it's not built for damage, though. Like, a lot of it's built for durability.
That's the only problem I find now. Stormlance, our Thunderwolf units with the Blood Surge and the characters actually hit pretty hard. Now without the characters, and we have a damage problem in our data sheets just in general, going into attachment that also has damage problems. It just makes for, like, you have to play the jaily type of game, which I think for me, got boring after a while.
I could see that. Yeah, it is a very boring style of list. Like you have one game plan, you get aggressive, get in your opponent's face, get them off the objectives. You might not kill them, but you're going to deny primary.
Yes, Reese, double 5-man infiltrator. Because that's another thing. Like that game with my intercessors where I lost to the Nids, their 6-inch doesn't work against the infiltrators. So even if I'd moved them out just to get some shots, like they'd have still kept his second unit off the objective, and I still won that game.
Right. Yeah.
And now that Dave did with Great Knights, we might see a resurgence in them. Shrike, like the Raven Guard, I think people are going to be trying to copy. So I think we're seeing Subterranean. There's a bunch of up-down stuff right now.
Andrak's got a good point. This is how I played Ironstorm as well. MSU is better in Beast Lair than Big Bricks. It's more forgiving without access to fallback. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one way of like, I don't want to fall back and charge. Let me build small units. And that way, one, they're just going to kill them outright and you don't even care. Two, if they touch them, you're losing less units.
Yeah. I got to build some more head takers because I still want to try the drop pod with three mans with a character each to fill up the 12 spots and just drop it somewhere like a grenade of head takers running out with like battle leaders and Ragnar.
That would be funny.
Because basically, if you got with 1 CP, you basically have 4 shots to hit a 9-inch. If you position the squads right, you can roll for each squad and reroll one of them. You got 4 chances to hit a 9 to get into something weird if they leave you a hole for something. Otherwise, you drop it kind of more defensive and just have 3 units on like a side to go threaten an expansion.
Yeah, Land Raiders are actually good now.
With the point drop? Yeah.
Somewhere out of the Land Raider. They're actually good now. They shoot pretty decent. They're pretty durable. Yeah. They help your movements get up the field. I mean, heck, like you start on the line, you move 15 inches with all your units. You move 12, disembark 3, charge. And you're getting a lot of pressure early on.
I did something that before in Fenris, I'd run, but I had 2 squads. I'd have a Blade Guard squad with like a chaplain in it and one with Ragnar or like the Black Death Captain in the Land Raider. What was cool was since Ragnar could advance and charge, they could get out 3 and advance one way and charge, and move the Land Raider the other way the guys got. So you really had 2 units that could go way different directions out of the Land Raider and threaten stuff.
Yeah, so that's where my head's at with Wolves. Is I want to lean into something that we do really well that no other army does. Oh, wow.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we appreciate you guys. We like talking Wolves. But yeah, I liked my Redeemer before the point hike, so running 30 Terminators, I can't put a Redeemer in, but maybe at some point I go back to 15 and put like Logan and his squad in the Redeemer and have just the one in Deep Strike.
Yeah, thank you, Give Me Scotch. But OSO's got Impulsors and Redeemers. I think Impulsors are not a waste in Stormlands. Like I was playing around, I have in one of my Stormlands lists, Wolf Priest with 6 paired weapon head takers. They pop out, they just wipe something because they just have so many attacks with probably dev and +1 wound. And then they have the option to just jump back in the Impulsor. So it's like a really good way to control space. You move close to me, I'm going to jump back in the Impulsor and then I'm going to pile back out behind terrain.
Yeah, and Impulsors, you could even advance and then jump out behind a building because you can get out of them after you advance. So
Impulsors are great. Yeah. Redeemers, I've played in 10th edition, I played probably like 15 to 20 games with Redeemers. I haven't quite found the right way to use them for me.
Yeah. I had some success with them early on until the layouts came out, and now a lot of tournaments like to run layout 1 and search and destroy. And that is just so bad for Land Raiders because you can't go through that middle gap. You have to go down and around. So that honestly pushed me away from the Redeemer more than anything else. Just because a lot of times I'd go to an RTT and you'd have at least 1, if not 2 games of that. And you go to a big event, you know you're going to have at least 1. Unless they're for some reason not running layout 1 or not running search and destroy, then I would probably definitely bring a Redeemer.
Totally. Yep. So, yeah. Like I said, I was talking about Beast Lair. Like, I think there is a build there for Beast Lair. I just haven't put all the pieces together for it. There are some really good pieces in it.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking in my Beast Slayer build, I have Desolators to hold the home, which do great in some matchups. They do normally they do pretty bad in other matchups, but they get lethals, which is great, and they're really stat checks, and they can also slow down things for free out of line of sight, which is a very solid way to control space and control your opponent's push.
And there's a lot of Eldari. They're really good into Eldari.
Yeah. Eldari definitely is, as you saw, leading the top of the meta this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, we got to for them. GSC, if people can put them together. AdMech, I think we're going to see more of. Some of these people just didn't have time to pivot, or their event wasn't running the new stuff this weekend.
Jordan's saying he tried the Poland Beast Slayers for a few games, felt pretty good. Yeah, exactly. I think Kruger actually inspired me to look into head takers more. And
I like head takers. They look cool. I want them to be good, so hopefully they are.
I mean, in one of my lists, the Impulsor can stage really far up turn 1, and they can get out and then go advance and charge into my opponent's like DZ turn 2. So I really like the idea of the paired weapon head takers with +1 to wound. They need some way to get +1 to wound, or all that stuff, lethals.
Yeah, that's not bad. I also like the in Beast Slayer, the character, given if you don't put them with the wolf in, the wolf touched. So when they get out of the Impulsor, they basically have an extra 2 inches to get that charge off.
Helpful. Really helpful.
Yeah, there's some plays there. I don't think head takers are... I thought they were amazing, and then we kind of were like, oh, they're bad. I don't think they're either. I think they're okay. In the right detachment, with the right stuff around them, I think they're good. They can be good.
I'm with you.
Once we learn how to pick targets for the quarry. Dan was talking about in the spatial chat the other night. He's still having trouble with picking the right thing.
Yeah.
You almost got to pick something weak that they have to send up, and then once you kill it, reassess your quarry based on where the game's gone. Because if you just put it on something good at the beginning, they just run it away from your head takers and go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of point. I think the paired weapon head takers are good. And the regular head takers are just side graded / worse blade guard veterans. So if you're taking head takers, go paired weapons, just go all damage.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to build. I got 2 boxes of 3 left that I haven't built yet. My first 6 I built was shield, just because I'd always had good luck with my blade guard. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be my spatial blade guard, but I think I'll build the other 6 paired and then give that a try.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because 6 paired guys with Ragnar could freaking slap.
Yes. We have a damage problem. Take more damage.
True. Yeah, we have trouble wounding stuff, so just have more attacks to try to wound. Yeah,
more attacks. Jordan's asking if you played into Sisters. They feel tough.
Yeah, I played the number 1 Sisters player in the world at Nova. He was 4-0 into Wolves. And 3 of the Wolves.
4-0. Yeah, I'm actually going to get a game into him this week. Hopefully, see how I do. I played him at another GT. He creamed me as well. It was 100 to 30.
Yeah, it's 3 of his games into Wolves at Nova were in the second bracket after pairing, so they were into really good players. So, Sisters are really good into Wolves right now.
Sisters are really good. Yeah, I think overall we're slightly. If you're not the best Sisters player in the world, we've got an okay match in Sisters. They just have a lot of cheap stuff they can throw at us really early on, and really good shooting.
And they just got some point drops in the Melta girls got better. So it's honestly, I think that makes the matchup even harder for us than it was before the change.
Totally. Risk is actually risk. You're asking if no one keeps the hunting wolves together with the head takers. I think they literally have to split at the start of the game. I'm going to check that really quick for you.
They do. They split. It's not a choice. But you could run them near it and have them as a tag team, but you don't have the option of keeping them together.
Yes. Yes, you must split them. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of times
near them. Yeah. I mean, it's good also you get cheap action units. Space Marines don't have access to cheap action screening units, so 25 points 50 points, 40 points. They're really fantastic units to just screen your backfield, go do area denial, go do something.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know that the wolves bring that much extra damage to help the head takers, because they're more like a cheap screening unit, because like they hit the same as Fenris wolves, which I've never had Fenris wolves kill anything good.
Nope.
But I've had to have them run out and score me a bunch of primary points for 40 points.
They're fantastic. I mean, like I said, no other Space Marine chapter has access to cheap screens like we do.
Yeah, and if you have intercessors, you can sticky your home, and if they don't have a lot of indirect or up, down stuff, the deep strike, you just have the wolves can sit back there and babysit your home to keep people from deep striking back there. But, all right, well, we're up on the hour, which is where we normally like to keep things close to. Do you have anything else you want to add, Aiden, or any last questions or thoughts from the chat?
Nope.
Wrapping fights for units and puppy dogs is my love language. Yeah, that can be pretty nice, but they also, depending on what you're fighting, could disappear real easy, like Overwatch or some bolters. But yeah, if you're able to charge them into the fight first units first, and then charge your other unit into something else, and then yeah, that's, I like doing that with impulsors, and they survive a little better than the dogs.
Is it likely they will change keywords leading?
I don't think so, just based on how I'm used to them treating wolves. We're kind of like, we get what we get, and we have to like it. Like, they don't really ever come back and really buff wolves. They're like, wow, they made wolves too strong. Just like with the Iron Priest, they did that, and they nerfed it before the book came out, where it's like Death Guard and stuff like that. They let them run wild for a couple months before they hit them. Like,
yep.
So I don't see them do anything like that for us.
Yeah, depending on how we do the next couple of months, like I see us maybe holding 48% win rate overall. Mm-hmm. They might bump us some points down a little bit. Maybe they look at other units, but I don't see them fundamentally reworking the codex.
Yeah, because I think they pointed our stuff, some of our like our Terminator stuff, some stuff pretty cheap because of the restrictions they put on us. If they give us access to Chaplain Terminators with +1 to wound, or the free CP and reroll, so I think then they have to pump the Terminators up on some of our stuff, because then I think we might get a little ridiculous if they just let us have all access to all the Terminators, or let like Neol lead Stern Guard. Like, I think we would get a lot of points hikes if they ever did give us the keyword changes.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next week. I don't have anything big coming up till November. I'll have a team tournament the first weekend of that. When's your next big event, Aiden?
So I got 2 events in October that are golden tickets. One's a small GT in the middle of October, early 11th, and then the next one's the 24th. So I'm kind of prepping, making my final ideas of what I want to build. And it's really Stormlance. Unless I'm kind of swayed any other way.
Cool. Yeah, I got some local RTTs and stuff coming up, but nothing big. And I'll be mostly starting to prep with the team for what we're going to be taking for team. So I'll be building my list and testing for the next few events on what I think I want to take to the team event more than what I think might be possibly the best singles list.
Makes sense. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you, Aiden, as always. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will catch you next time.
All right. Yeah, actually, Jordan, it is the Battle Bros GT. So, all right. Anyway, thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you for watching Almost Functional Gaming. We appreciate the support of all followers of Russ and the Allfather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon. Everything helps support the growth of this channel, and we appreciate it.